बोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथिता पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणी भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनी अम्ब त्वामनुसन्तता भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी.
Jnani has kshama. From there you have to start, right?
Yeah. Jnani has kshama. And therefore, he is kshami, one who has forbearance. You are able to hear because there is a noise of fan.
Yeah. Now, my voice is okay?
I will reduce it. Om Swamiji.
Om. My voice is okay?
Yes.
Okay.
And therefore he is kshami, one who has forbearance, forgiveness, and can retain his composure in spite of hostile situations. This again is not an ideal. If we take it as such, it only creates pressure that will vitiate your very pursuit. Just drop kshama as an ideal and understand what it takes to have kshama. Condemning yourself for not having kshama is another form of idealizing, which will only cause you anxiety and keep you struggling and seeking. If there are no ideals, but rather certain things to understand in life, you will find you are a seeker, jigyasu. A small shift, but it makes such a big difference. Absolutely, this is a natural expression of a jnani as a thing to be understood and assimilated. It is sadhana.
See, two things. He says, one is, it is a jnani's natural expression, in the sense, because of his understanding that there is only the being, everything else is of the changeless, changing. The changing will remain changing, and with reference to others, with reference to their background, if you are born in that background, with that upbringing, in that circumstances, you will also be like that. It is a way of understanding. If you understand it that way, then acceptance or kshama need not be an ideal, need not be a compulsion. You accept that changing situation changes. The other person is born in a different situation with a different background and different upbringing. So he behaves. If I have been born in that situation, in that upbringing, I will also behave like that. So it creates a level playing field for accepting. So instead of saying that no, I am not able to forgive him, I am not able to accommodate him, that instead of feeling that sort of an ideal, you appreciate the reality. That is the way jnani looks at it. So that is why the natural expression of a jnani. As far as we are concerned, we have to develop it as a sadhana by looking at it, by looking at the reality by our own understanding. So that's what he is explaining. Let us see what he says. Yeah, just read it.
What is kshama? What does it take to remain composed under all hostile situations? Only when you are ready for the worst is it possible, and the worst that can happen is death. This can be handled only by a jnani who knows that though time, kala, devours the entire creation, he devours time in the sense that he knows he is free from time and thus devours the whole jagat.
Yeah, basically timeless, like what we have been talking about. As being, we are timeless, spaceless and objectless. So an objectless being cannot be bound by time. So question of born or gone, death, kala and all is not relevant if the understanding is complete. Okay, that is why he says a jnani does not he is able to devour the entire situation. Swami always used to give a joke. Somebody, two friends was talking. He asked him, one fellow asked the other fellow, what is your name? He said Jahan Khan. And when he asked him, what is your name? Tujhe Khan, he said. The meaning is Jahan Khan means the fellow who is able to eat Jagat. And Tujhe Khan means I will eat you. In the sense, do you understand the joke? The joke is one fellow says, my name is Jahan Khan. I am the devourer of Jagat. And the other fellow said, Tujhe Khan, I will eat you up. Even though you may be a killer of time, world or time, I will eat you up because I am bigger than you. Like that, here what he says is, a jnani who knows, he devours kala because time is timeless. So the question of something being born in time and dying in time does not make any impact on him. So as far as he is concerned, we can easily handle it. That is why this can be handled only by a jnani. Death can be easily handled by a jnani. That's what he is explaining. Yeah.
Facing death is not an issue for him because there is no death. If you say the body dies, you will say it is dying all the time. The cells are constantly changing, and since the body is objectifiable, its nature is to be destroyed. Drishta nashta
subhavaha. In the sense, what is born will always be gone. Drishta means the very fact that you see, it is its own time written on it. Because what is born in time will go in time. Like the first upadesa, gatasun, agatasun. The sense, what is going, the person who is gone, the person who is going is mourning. You are also in the queue. You are going to go anyway. What is the point in mourning a fellow who is already gone? So, gatasun, agatasun, nanusochanti panditaha. The first upadesa vakya in the second chapter. So, same way, drishta nashta subhavaha is the reality of all of us. The cells are constantly changing. The whole body is metamorphosizing in every 7 years. The whole body changes every 7 years, even though we don't see it because it is happening in a very infinitesimally slow speed. So we think that everything is static, sashvatam. Nothing is sashvatam. Continuously it is changing. That is what he says. The cells are constant. So everyone is consistently dying. It is not one day you die. You are dying all the way. One day it is not useful anymore. That's all. So that is how we have to look at the death. That's what he is trying to say. Yeah.
It is not going to die on one particular occasion. It is always changing. The mind is always also constantly dying because the thought is always momentary. Kshanika. Atma, on the other hand, is not subject to change because it is not subject to time. Therefore, I does not die. Right at the outset, God said, Nasato vidyate bhavaha na bhava
vidyate sataha. Yeah.
There is no independent existence for the apparent and an Atma with its existence, Satya, does not have abhava or existence, which means that it never dies. Can I explain this?
Yeah, this is what we have already seen it. Anyway, we can explain it. See, na asataha vidyat. The asat in the sense the changing. Asat means here it means the changing. The changing can never say Baba, always I am there. That is what he says by the meaning drishta nashta subhavaha. In the sense, asat meaning changing. The changing will can never remain changeless. And the changeless can never change. So that is the second sentence. Nasato vidyate bhavaha meaning what is changing can never have tirata, that is always being there. It's not possible because it is changing. It is its bhava. And na abhavo vidyate sataha. What is changeless will never have abhava meaning will never undergo any change. Abhava meaning change. And the first sentence also bhavaha means changeless. So bhavaha means changeless. Abhava means change. So what is Satyam, Atma, is changeless, it will never undergo any change. What is Asat, which is everything else, will never be without a change. So this is the reality. What is changing always changes, what is changeless remains. So your reality is changeless and everything else is changing. So it will keep changing. There is no point in thinking why it is changing and all that. So that is how you have to, that is a reality understanding. Na sato vidyate bhavaha, na bhava vidyate sataha is the second chapter, fourth or fifth sloka after the Upadesha starts. So it is so very clear in that. In the sense, the reality is explained very clearly. On that basis only the whole Shastra is all about thereafter. Now also he is explaining the same thing here. How? Why? Because the Jnani has Shama is because he knows what is changing will keep changing. The other person will keep changing because he looks at himself as a changing person. So he feels sometimes good, sometimes bad because he has not yet understood. Whereas if you have understood it, you have to accept it as Yadhartham. As I was telling, like he is born in a certain background, certain upbringing, certain things is going on. So he will behave like that only. There is no point in thinking why he is like this and all that. You don't try to change him. You understand the reality and remain changeless and accept his changes because he is identifying himself with the changing and keeps changing. And as long as the other person does not understand that he is also changeless, you will not have a level playing field with him. So you will have to accept him as he is. At the same time, you remain changeless. Because that is your reality you have understood. Because you are in the sense, you are now studying, in the context of the study, Bhagavan says this is your sadhana. And you have already understood there is no issue. That person is not compared with. He is not the subject matter. Person who is jnani is not the subject matter. But for you, if you are a sadhaka, you want to go there, you have to look at how he is accepting everything. The same way you have to do it as a sadhana to accept the other person. But not take it as an ideal. Because ideal means it will put pressure on you. But understand how, and that is the understanding comes through the discussion. What is coming through the discussion is understanding. Yeah.
What dies alone is dying and is generally accepted. Only if the eye dies, there is a problem. When the sun sets, you do not mourn its passing because you know that it is the nature of things to change. Once you understand the nature of something, you do not expect it to be different. There is no complaint that sugar is sweet or vinegar is sour because it is their nature. The body is changing and so is the mind. It is their nature. But Atma never changes again because that is its nature. Atma can never be made to change and the body cannot be stopped from changing since you cannot change the course of events. Why grieve over it? The wise person is unruffled because of this knowledge. Even if a jnani is physically injured, he understands that only his body is harmed. There is no sense of being injured or if the injury is deliberate, insulted. The physical body may be black and blue, but inside, being awake to the fullness of it, that is nature of Atma, he is free from emotional bruises. Relatively, Chama is an attitude based on understanding. It can also be seen as forgiveness. We can see how natural this would be for a wise man, but as a value, it is a dangerous concept. Who are we to forgive? The whole world has forgiven us, allowing us to live as we are. This whole nation of notion just creates distance. There is nothing to forgive. Again, we only need to understand one another. All of us are different because of differences in our thinking, and the backgrounds are all up and backgrounds and all are in the process of maturing. If you understand that, we will find that nobody is bad or good. If you understand that, we will find that nobody is bad or good. Therefore, Chama means one who is naturally accommodative.
Yeah, see, basically what is he trying to say here? The whole approach is, Swamiji is very careful not to give us any complex that we are not accommodative, we are not like that. So you look at it as a process, keep the jnani's situation because of his understanding is how what he is. So we have to improve in our understanding of the reality in terms of what is change will keep changing, what is changeless is our reality. Since our reality is changeless and that is the reality of Atma in everywhere, and only the person or the situation changes because that is bound to change, because that is the reality of the world. Changing. Jagat means Jayati Gachati iti Jagat. So it will always keep changing. There's no point in complaining. So by understanding, you will not idealize it. At the same time, you will get to be where you want to be, like the Jnani. Because of his understanding, in the same way, your understanding as it grows, you will be able to be accommodative. Like we have always said, that in our own understanding, if our understanding is complete, we will be Satyam, and we will be always Tushtam, happy. At the same time, when it comes to others, we will empathize and we will accept because of whatever is changing is changing. He is identifying himself with the changing world, so he is changing. Whereas, as far as I am concerned, I understand that I am changeless, so I remain changeless. Even in my own body, mind and senses, if there are some changes happening, I accept, because it is happening in my own body, mind and senses. It is not I who is changing. So, it is a question of growing clarity that only will help us in the sadhana as well as in our progress towards jnana. Both are not to be idealized, but to carefully watched with alertness and understanding, and by study we have to progress. That is how we have to look at the whole thing. That is, he is ensuring that we don't get into an ideal situation where we start blaming ourselves and all that. Because it is very practical in the sense that we always face situations where we feel that we could have done better. Yeah, that is a part of the growth. We don't have to feel guilty about it or hurt when somebody else behaves badly. Because he is in a different plane of life, he is in a different situation, he is in a different growth path, we are in a different growth path. So there will always be difference. So we have to accommodate and accept. Empathy and Shama. Shama also, he is very careful. He says, who are you to forgive others? Don't say acceptance, forgiven. Forgiveness is not the attitude. Accepting the reality is the attitude. So you have to accept the other person as he is, rather than trying to say, I forgive you. Forgive means there is a sort of condescending attitude. We don't need to have that. That's what he is trying to say. Yeah.
Only I have a question. If somebody does any harm to me or hurts my feelings, some people will look for tit for tat. Some people will forgive. So are we talking about Kshama as that forgiveness or something else?
Yeah, see, generally Kshama is translated as forgiveness, but Swamiji is now cautioning us, once you say I forgive, that means you are assuming that the other person has made a mistake. Even that assumption may not be true, because in his own circumstances, in his own the way in which he is placed, he may be genuinely feeling something antagonistic about you. So there may be a genuine reason for that. So instead of saying that when you say I forgive, that means you have made a mistake, I forgive you. No. Rather than that, you accept him as he is because of the circumstances and because of the his own upbringing, his own stature or stage in life. He is like that. That way you accept him. Or one more step is, if I have been in his shoes, I would also be like that. That is the second way of empathizing or accepting the other person. So that you create a level playing field so that you don't feel condescending towards him. You just accept the situation and carry on. In the sense, of course, ensuring that if there is any hurt and all that, you have to internalize, you have to neutralize that by saying that, okay, but I am supposed to be insulted, some sort of a consolation for yourself, not to get hurt yourself, at the same time not to have a condescending opinion about the other person and say I forgive. Instead, accepting is better. Acceptance is a better word than accommodation or forgiveness. Word inside in your head when you are dealing with that sort of a person who in your opinion is hurting is acceptance rather than accommodation or endurance or forgiveness. So the Once you use the word forgiveness, you assume that he has already done something bad. Once you say you are accommodating, you are again saying that you are in a bigger position and he is in a smaller position, so you are accommodating him. So all those words, once you get it into your head, it will create a complex. So it may not be very healthy. So best is to avoid such words and say I accept. As Ishvara's, this is what is given to me in this situation, this person is in my life, I accept him for what he is, maybe because of various circumstances it's like that. Okay, I will also ensure that I don't take that hurt to heart, which I explained, how to ensure that you don't get other fellows to hurt you. By saying that you are not, in the sense, he is only, if at all he is insulting his own view of you as a role player. He is not hurting you as a being. The being cannot be hurt. Being is a reality. So that way also you can insulate yourself, ensure that you don't get hurt and you don't hurt the other person. So this sort of a process is only will ensure ahimsa shanti will come in the next 13th chapter also. Ahimsa and shanti. You don't get hurt and you accept that kshama is nothing but shanti. Shanti in the sense kshama. Kshama means accept the other person as he is. Both have to continuously go. This is all pair of values will be there. Amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa, shanti, arjavam, like that. Since you have to cushion yourself not to get into a situation where you feel hurt and guilty, and cushion accepting the other person, saying that you don't hurt him or you don't make him feel guilty. So both have to continuously go on in your life, in your dealing with others, as well as in your own view of yourself. You don't condemn yourself also in the process. This has to be, that is called, I always tell, the alert life, apramatta. At every point in time, you have to be alert to this sort of things. Listen, it will happen, immediately it will happen. But immediately you get to that understanding, no. Maybe because of his own situation in life is like that. So you create that level playing field in your own mind and accept him for what he is, rather than trying to say that I forgive him or I accommodate him or I endure him. And all those words are condescending words. We can avoid that. That's what he's saying. Internally, once you put those words come into your mind, your status is different. Don't put those words into your mind. Just say accept him. I accept him as prasada. That's all. This is a situation in life. He's part of my life. I accept him and carry on.
Swami, can you just repeat that when someone is scolding me, he is not scolding me in physical means, rather what did you say? He is scolding me?
He is perceiving a certain, he looks at me only as a role, right? He objectifies me. And in our own mind, we should not objectify ourselves, because we know that my own body, mind, senses and its growth and its way in which it is being available for the other person to interact, is purely the part of the changing world. It is one unit, one set, you can say. Your body, mind, senses, the other fellow's body, mind, senses are one set. It is part of the Jagat. So, he is come in a certain circumstance, you are come in a circumstance, you interact. So, because of that, something happens. Sometimes he is in the plus, sometimes you are in the plus, sometimes he hurts, sometimes you hurt. But both are happening in one set of body, mind and senses. So when he interacts with you only as an object. Object meaning body, mind, senses. Whereas you are not that. Your approach to this whole thing is you are the being, and my own body, mind, senses are only role play, and interacting in the society or in the office or whatever it is. He is only interacting with that for image of him, image of me rather than me. He's not really, nobody is dealing, even father, mother, forget office. Nobody knows exactly what you are. In the sense, they have a certain idea. They label you for what you are on the basis of their own experience with you and accordingly deal with you. They don't deal with, nobody can, because it's not possible. Only you know. So that is why you have to understand that, okay, in the current circumstances, they are looking at me, this is how I am available to them. That is with whom they are interacting, and they are having an opinion and they are sharing it with me. But if I am not that, I can in a way you can put it across, or you can, first thing you have to accept that they are not hurting me or scolding me. They are only scolding the role. whether it is even a son or a daughter for that matter. And definitely in the office. So that is how we have to, it's only the role that is being criticized or commented upon, not the person. Basic person, the being is the same in all. That is what the whole teaching is all about. What is changes, nasato vidyate bhavaha, nabhava vidyate sataha, is talking about the crux of the whole thing is the changeless, always is changeless, that we are the changeless. It is not, it is timeless, spaceless. Nobody can hurt, nobody can pass any comments and all that. That is, the Purnatvam is always there. The role play only comes into the picture in terms of criticism or objectivity, whatever you call it. You are objectified only to the extent of your roles. So once you are very alert to that, then any criticism or any hurting and all that, you will be able to accept it at that level and respond rather than react. Important. Because that is part of the teaching. Like, if we cannot tell it in, we don't have to go and talk to people about these things who is not interested in this sort of an inquiry. That is very important. You can't go out and say, but you can cushion yourself, you can neutralize all your raga dveshas, all your guilt and hurt in this manner. Because that is part of this week's, what I have sent already as a covering note for this weekend. Tomorrow, day after, I think yesterday, the talk has already gone through. Yesterday I had sent, that Gita, essence of Gita talk of Saturday evening. There's a covering note. This is a covering note there. Just see that, how we can ensure that we don't accept the guilt and hurt.
I think there was upload from Appa, but I don't see.
No, not that. What I send, you are part of one group where I send the weekend talks of Puja Swamiji. One talk series, is it coming to you all? Is it coming? It is coming. It is coming.
WhatsApp.
It's coming in WhatsApp.
I also get separately.
It is in the Gita Home Study group, or I think.
You are sending, in addition, I also get separately from Arsha Vidya. I get that.
What is the name of the group?
No group, Arsha Vidya.
No. Swami, what you are telling is you are sending in Bhagavad Gita home study group you are sending.
No. That is, like what? I don't think, let me check.
I have not added to any other group other than Nalini group and your group, Swamiji.
I think there is one problem there. Let me check that. 1 minute.
Bhagavad Gita home study.
Swami, you sent only that understanding life. You sent this.
No, that is separate. That is my talk.
But
that
this,
is okay. But there is one more. I think I'll have to find a way to. Yes, Krishna Kumar is there already.
Huh?
Yeah.
You sent it to him then.
See, it is in that Puja Sri group. Puja Sri group.
Okay.
In that.
My number and mother's number are not added in that, I think.
Yes, Krishna Kumar. Maybe yes, Krishna Kumar is there. But BGHS group I have mentioned there.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it is coming to you only.
Only to him, yes.
Yeah. Swamiji, shall I give my mother's my number?
No, I will include separately Prashant and Gayatri also. Okay. That's why I was wondering, how come you are not seeing that? The essence of Bhagavad Gita, both of you have already started reading that.
We heard about 18.
Yeah. So in that it is there. Today I will send you that right away. I will include your name and Amma's name and then send it. I think it is coming to only him. How come? I thought one of you will pass it on. You are not passing it on. Krishna Kumar.
Pass on to my wife.
You are not.
Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. I think.
Because-
He has forgotten this time.
That group, because in that Pujyasri group, I cannot add a group. I can only add individual names. There is a problem.
So sometimes he does, but I think this time he has forgotten to pass it on. I
Not
was
that.
not aware.
Not that it came day before yesterday.
Yeah, day before yesterday. Friday it will come. Generally, I send it on Friday. In that the caption is that only. See, I will read that.
You want the numbers, Swamiji? Mother number?
No, I have got the number. Don't worry. I will send it. See, I will read that. We are happy to bring to you the 10th episode of the essence of the entire Bhagavad Gita, a special talk series by Pujya Swami Dayananda Saraswathi. The topic is sorrow can be got over by understanding self. Pain is an inbuilt natural reaction to discomfort or distress, physical or otherwise. Sorrow, on the other hand, is man-made and something that one can totally avoid. The sources of sorrow can be distilled into two. One, the omission and commission of others to us, which causes hurt. Two, the omission and commission of that one is responsible for which leads to guilt. Both hurt and guilt exist because we are not aware of the truth about ourselves. The I-centered hurt and guilt gets neutralized when the nature of I is clarified and understood. This is because the locus of sorrow is free from all causes of hurt and guilt. Let us listen to the Master as he unfolds the ultimate truth. This is the covering note for yesterday's talk. This I think you all should share with him, because I thought since I have been sending it to him, he will be sharing it to you all. Now I will.
He says
Yeah, you don't have to include. I will send
he
it.
will send it hereafter every time. It's
Every time I used to send to only my wife, but who else is interested?
Now you include him also. Prashant also is sharing.
I have included. Now I have sent it.
Okay, right. Okay, doesn't matter. Because since it was the context was the same, I thought I will just tell you. Okay.
Verse 14. Such a jnani is very dear to me. Santushtah satatam yogi yatatma drida nischayah mayyarpita mano buddhir mano buddhir yo mad bhakta same priyah. Santushtah, the one, aho, the one who is completely satisfied.
Yeah. That's a mistake. One
The one who is completely satisfied, satatam, always, yogi, one who is united, yatatma, who has mastery over his mind, drida nischayah.
Drida nischaya means firmness. Drida means we know, no? Dridam.
Nischayah, whose ascertainment is firm, mayi arpita mano buddhihi, whose mind and intellect are resolved in me, yah mad bhaktaha, he who is my devotee, sahame priyaha, he is beloved to me. Are you able to hear, Appa? You are looking.
Yes.
The one who is completely satisfied, who is always united, who has mastery over his mind, whose ascertainment is firm, whose mind and intellect are resolved in me, who is my devotee, is beloved to me. Such a jnani, Lord Krishna says, is my beloved me, priyaha.
Me priya.
Me priyaha. Oh, it's my beloved me priyaha. Sorry. The use of the sixth case is exactly as it is when you say mama atma, which means simply me, atma. Similarly, when he says me priyaha, he is beloved to me, it means he is one with me. An example often used to illustrate this kind of genitive is raho shiraha itivat, like Rahu's head. In Indian astrology, Rahu is a shadow planet consisting only of the head of a dragon. Even though there is no real possession possible here, because there are not two things, one of which can possess the other. Even though there is no real possession possible here, because there are not two things, one of which can possess the other, we have the expression Rahu's head. Similarly, me priyaha, my beloved, is more accurately my ananda.
The same, there is only oneness. Even though there are two terms are there is only oneness. Rahu is basically the head of the snake. So Rahu's head means there is only head. There is only one meaning for between both the words. Here also, me priyaha means me only. That is the meaning of me. Even though there are two terms, me priyaha, but it is only oneness. It is only reflects oneness. That is what he is telling. For that, he is giving the example of Rahu's Siraha. Rahu's Siraha means Rahu's head. But there is nothing called Rahu's head. Rahu itself is head only. That is why.
The most beloved thing in the world is Atma, for whose sake everything becomes pleasing. Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati.
Kamaya. Asmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam
Atmanastu
bhavati.
kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati.
Yeah.
Previously, Bhagavan also said, the jnani is myself alone. Jnani tu atma eva. Here he sees sahame priyaha, which is the
Same meaning, yeah.
only that he says bhakta here, while there he used the word jnani. Actually, Swamiji, this Bhagavad Gita we are reading and we are understanding all these words. In reading Ramana Maharishi's most stories, it looks like Ramana Maharishi never read Bhagavad Gita, but he had all of this knowledge by himself as a jnani. How was he able to have all this knowledge without reading Bhagavad Gita, Swamiji?
See, the thing is that number one, it is a samskara. In the sense, you might have read it earlier. That is one way of looking at it. The other thing is, the more and more you understand reality, once you are the crux of the whole thing, which we have been generally discussing in all my talks also, is reality understanding. Once you are able to understand, reality is desakala vastu aparichinnam. My reality is ever being, and it is timeless, spaceless. It is not an object. It is not a thing. It is it's a being by the sheer vibhuti, or because of the chaitanyam, or because of the jyoti, whatever way you can understand that it is, I am able to see my own body, mind, senses, as well as my activities, my emotions, my life. In the same way, the same being is the same thing in every other jantu also. Even animals and plants, but animals and plants are not going to talk to you or express, so they are going to live a programmed life and go, so we don't take that into consideration. But if you look at even the devatas, we don't take into consideration because they have their own niyama, they come and go, we are not going to interact with them. Only whom we are interacting with, only other people, other human beings. Even in other human beings, the being is the same. Their own body, mind, senses, their activities, their emotions, everything. And my own body, mind, senses, my activities, my emotions, everything are one set of changing. The other is the being which is changeless. It is the same in every one of us. If this understanding, clarity is there, everything else can be filled up. Doesn't great. There is no rocket science not to fill up these things. Only that perhaps the language in English we can, in Tamil or English. In our own language we can express it if we are good at our language, and if we are good at our expressing our feelings, our understanding. So both communication style also has to be there, language skill also should be there. This can be done in any language for that matter. And in Shastra what it does is, it says it in Sanskrit because Sanskrit is their mother tongue for all the rishis and all that. So they were saying it in so many words. And even in case of Ramana Maharshi, whatever he did was basically in Tamil. Because he was well versed in Tamil. And that Kavya Kanta Muni and the Shastrigal and all, they converted into Sanskrit because they were well versed in Sanskrit. They wanted to convert it into Sanskrit text and all that. And later also, because of his constant communication with them, he also picked up Sanskrit, and couple of Sanskrit slokas and some text also he gave. But basically, originally he communicated in Tamil only. And the communication, if it is skillful, and if your understanding is thorough, it will come the same across all Panditas or all Jnanis. So, there is no surprise that he also told the same thing in so many words. Even though he might not have gone through traditional education of Prasthanatraya, of Gita, Upanishad and all that, either he might have had the samskara in previous birth, or because of the understanding being so thorough, he tells what is the text telling in simple words, that's all. So there is no what you call, it is not something like miracle, mystical and all that. We don't have to make it into a mystic situation. It is reality understanding. He is expressing in his own terms, that's it. That is how we have to look at it. And it will be the same. Reality, the truth is not different just because somebody else tells that. Here the texts are all in Sanskrit in different points in time, different rishis, Upanishads and all they have written. Vyasa has written Bhagavad Gita in a style that belonged to that period of time. So like even Rudram, it talks about Ratha and elephant and Rudram and Uchchai Gosha Granteha and even the what you call robbers and all that. It's a sacred text. How it is talking about robbers? You cannot say that. It is talking about a society in that period in time when the Rishi has written those mantras and he has described the whole thing. All society is described in Rudram and say everything is Namaha, everything is you only. Go on. That is how it is. So there is nothing, what you call, we have to understand the context of a text and then we will be able to find that everything is in the right place in the right time. Yeah.
Satam Santushtaha, the jnani is always satisfied. Satatam is an important word here. Everybody is santushta, happy occasionally or with reference to some conducive situation. We may be happy with our job, our partner, our children, but if we keep on extending the list, it will come to something we are not happy about. As a samsari, one is happy only with reference to certain things, but not satatam santushtaha, not one who is always happy. This describes a sannyasi, a jnani, who Shankara says has a sense of adequacy, alam pratyaya.
Alam pratyaya.
Alam pratyaya.
Alam means satisfied, tripti. Alam means tripti, that's all, yeah.
He does not take issue with himself, the world and God on any account and is happy with himself. Generally, we have not resolved our issues of contention even with God, let alone with the world, where we have numerous things to settle with various people and situations. And with regard to our own body, mind and senses, we have many accounts to settle. In this condition, it is not possible to have a constant alam pratyaya. There are only two things about which you can really say enough. One is food. No matter how much you may like something, after you have eaten certain quantity, you say alam enough. That is why they say giving food is one of the two best acts of charity. If you feed somebody, he or she will eventually say enough. Whereas money, for example, is never alam. Nor is any other thing except Brahmajnana. With empirical knowledge, apara vidya can never be alam, because the more you know, the more you realize the extent of your ignorance. The sense of alam can only come when you know that you are purna, complete, because that alone cannot be improved upon. Of these two acts of charity, Vedanta Vijnana is greater because it creates an alam pratyaya, which unlike that created by having enough food is not temporary. Santushtaha Saratam is a
Acts
person.
of charity, Swamiji.
Huh?
Of these two acts of charity, what are the? I don't understand.
That is, one is Atma Jnanam, other is giving food, charity in terms of food. Even in case of food, even though temporarily for this meal you will say enough, because food you cannot take more, so you may say enough. But after 4 hours you will come back to you again, because you will feel hungry. So, whereas in the Atma Jnana, once a person feels, understands, he will never come back to you.
Yes.
Because it's Purna. So that Purnatvam, that Tripti, that Alam Buddhi, what you get in Atma Jnanam is incomparable. That's what he's trying to say. Even though compared to all other charities, giving food is best, because there at least for the time being he will say enough. With reference to money and all, then nobody will say enough, because they want more. So that is how it is. Even though within the charity food giving is Annadanam is best, but Atma Jnanam is better than even Annadanam. That's what he's trying to say. So, beautiful. One more reason why we should go for Atma Jnanam, or indulge ourselves in giving Atma Jnanam to others also. After having understood, if you are able to give that Atma Jnanam to other, he will definitely ever feel gratified, because you will be satisfied with life. That is how it is. Yeah.
Actually, I'm just sharing one experience. On Saturday, when I had gone to Arshavidya Library, Mylapore, the moment you open Bhagavad Gita book, there is one word, for example, Alam Pratyaya. Near the rack, they have kept one book which explains that one. Near that, another book which explains that one. Short books are available where you can take, read and keep it back, literally, Swamiji. So, sometimes when we are reading at home, if you want something, we will Google and find out that one. In the library, it is so extraordinarily racked very well. that, for example, when you read about Purnamada Purnamidam, if there's a word about that one, that reference book is available in that place to explain that thing. So it was very nice to.
Yeah, they are really trying to reach out Swamiji's words to the people and all that. So because this is where Atma Jnanam, Swamiji also has nothing like, there is one more sloka also is there, I will share it with you after some time, I don't remember right away. There it says, nothing like Jnanam, Sadarsham, meaning equal to Jnanam, there is nothing, no other charity is equal to Jnanam. That is, there is one word by Swamiji, I will share it with you. One of these days I will get it from one of the books, it may be there as a sponsor's message. The first page itself will be there in one of the books. Like, Jnanena Sadarsham, any other charity is not there. Jnanathu Kudukra Madhiri, where charity kadayadunne oru beautiful statement is there by Swamiji. I will share it with you later. That is a fact.
Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Just telling you, Amma Appa. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma will be kept as chapter number 2 as part of that short verse in that library. Below will be one book for Satyam, Jnanam, Anandam, Brahma by Puja Sri Swamiji, separate book. So if you read the second chapter, if you take that particular book and read reference, it will be containing some 16 pages. That if you read, it will be exactly like how Swamiji takes class for Satyam. Another thing we read about Anantam, like that it is arranged.
Yeah. Good. It's a good thing to visit that showroom. Yeah.
Satatam can also be taken as qualifying yogi. There are two meanings for yogi based on the two meanings of the root yuj. The root is taken in the sense of to master or control nirodhane. A yogi is one who has yoga, which is defined as chittavritti nirodha, control over the thoughts. The second meaning of the root yuj is to unite. That is the sense in which it is used here. He is a yogi because of his jnana, of his identity with Ishvara. He is also a yogi with reference to his mind in that he has tranquility, chitta samadhana, but not by the force of his will. The once restless mind was made relatively composed by Viveka and Karma Yoga. Then, when it was exposed to Vedanta Pramana, it fulfilled its purpose in the recognition of the truth of itself. It poses no problem for him since he does not identify with it as I. Being very clear about the fact that he is not the mind, he does not judge himself on the basis of mental conditions. He is Satatam Yogi, always a yogi. Everybody has experiences of tranquility, chitta samadhana, and in that sense is a yogi occasionally. Here Bhagavan is describing a jnani, which is why he can say Satatam Yogi. Ma, you want to read?
Okay.
Yeah, even the earlier before he coming to jnani, he has described the yogi and he has compared the yogi with the meditator. That is the chitta vritti nirodha, which he is talking about here. No, the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, that it they are trying to shut the mind from thoughts and all that, because thoughts only are creating a problem. So he identifies himself with the mind. So if the mind is having a restless, I am restless. So that sort of a yogi, comparatively, a person who is restless, he may be better. But he says a karma yogi is better because he is trying to gain the chitta samadhanam, where there is an internal acceptance of Ishvara Arpana Buddhi and Prasada Buddhi. So he has got the composure to study and understand that even though the mind is I, but I am not the mind. So that sort of a person, once that understanding is there, he will not be disturbed by the mind, even if the mind has some emotions and all that. So that sort of a karma yogi is better than the Patanjali yogi. That those two yogis are compared. But in case of jnani, he is above all, because he has got the chitta samadhana, he has got the understanding also. So that he was not compared earlier, but now he is described. As part of the description, he is not compared with those yogis anyway. Yeah.
The word Satatam is placed between the two words Santushtaha Yogi in order to modify both. This technique is called Akakshi Nyaya, the analogy of the crow's eye. The eye of a crow does not move its socket, so when it turns its head to see, it can look as though a single eyeball goes to the other socket. It is the same here. A single modifier placed between two nouns can modify the meaning of both nouns. Another analogy for the same situation is that of a lamp on the threshold, Dehali Deepanyaya. It simultaneously lights up the inside and outside. Similarly here, Satatam simultaneously modifies Santushtaha and Yogi.
Yeah, you understand, no? The Dehali Deepanyaya, in the sense you keep a lamp in the threshold, on both sides it will light up.
Yes.
So here Satatam, Santushtaha is kept in the middle, meaning a yogi who is having a chitta samadhanam, who is doing his karma as Vishwararpanam and Prasada Buddhi, has got a fairly restful mind where he is able to look at that whatever happens is Vishwara's Arpanam and Prasada Buddhi. So he will also have a tranquil yogitvam. The other person on the other side is a jnani. By understanding, he understands my reality is changeless. Whatever is happening is only changing. So he will also be happy. He will also be a yogi. So both the yogis are compared by the word Satatam Yogi. That is in the center. That is in the lamp which is in the center of both the rooms. That is how he is talking about. Yeah.
But that jnani is better than yogi. That's what he says.
In the sense, now he is describing the jnani, but the other person is not far off. You will say, Nachirenadi Gachati, it will come. It has come in the 5th chapter. So he is close. In the sense, he is Jnyasu and Jnani, not very far off. That's why he says, both will have a Chitta Samadhanam. They will both have, one will have Chitta Santushtam. One person knows completely the reality, other person is in the process. But anytime he is better than the Patanjali yogi who is just meditating to remove his thoughts. That is not going to happen because even though he may remove the thoughts for time sitting in meditation, after some time the thoughts will come back, he will again feel restless. That is not the way to go about. This karma yogi, the Chitta Samadhanam, this yogi is anytime better than the other person, and he is also very close to the jnani because he is already close to understanding. He is preparing his mind, he is studying also. That is why he is a karma yogi. Karma yogi means what? He has got already mumukshutvam. Mumukshutvam means moktum ichuhu, meaning he understands the reality. This is what I want to, this understanding has to be thorough for me. That is why I am studying. So the person is already in the process. So he is also very close to the jnani, and the Satatam yogi is common for both the jnani and the yogi. That's what he is trying to say. Yeah.
Satatam yogi is one whose tranquility, Chitta Samadhana, is constant, which is possible only because he has nothing to do with his mind. He is also Yatatma, the one who has a mastery over his mind. Here, Atma refers to the mind, and his mind is Yata, mastered. And he is Satatam Yogi because he is Yatatma, one who has mastery over his mind. The nature of the mind is to be restless and easily affected by external situations. When the mind is resolved in himself and therefore not subject to this nature, the one who has such a mind is called Satatam Yogi. He is one whose knowledge is well determined. Nishchayaha, one whose knowledge is very well determined. He has a clear ascertainment, Nishchaya, of the nature of Atma, and that is firm, Dida, in the sense that it is free from doubts. This is not adamancy, but rather a clarity about the nature of the self. When he sees clearly that Atma is Brahman, the knot of the heart, Hridaya Granthi, is tat vidyate. Between Atma and the Deha, there is a granthi, a tie brought about by avidya, ignorance. From that comes kama followed by karma, old and new. By this three-stranded string, avidya, kama, karma, together called hridaya granthi, an individual is bound and is released when that knot is untied. Doing varieties of things only makes it more knotted, since action stems from a failure to understand the original problem. As in untying a tangled ball of yarn, pulling at the wrong threads will only make the ball more tangled. You must get the hang of it. Then the knot will resolve. Spiritually also, you must first understand that seeking a solution within samsara is only complicating the problem. The problem is ignorance, and to determine that you need viveka. Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha are the four strands hanging from the tangled ball of samsara. If you pull on the first three, you are tightening the knots. Pursuing Artha and Kama only creates further problems, and though Dharma resolves the problems to an extent, it does not untie the fundamental knot, Hridaya Granthi. For that, you have to remove avidya. When you do, the knot resolves because there is no longer any doubt about whether Atma is Brahman or limited, Karta or Akarta, Bhokta or Abhokta. These are to be seen severally because there is one contention that even though Atma is Akarta, it is still a Bhokta, and another that Atma is Anuparimana of the size of an atom. Even if you say that Atma is Brahman, does it have attributes? Is it Saguna or is it free from them? Is it Nirguna? And even if you know it is Nirguna Brahma, should you do karma for the sake of moksha or not? These are some of the many possible doubts. None of them exist for the one who is Dhrida Nishchaya with reference to Atma. Shall we stop or will proceed?
Yeah, we can stop here. We can stop here. Lot of discussion, lot of things he has brought. But anyway, it's good. Lot of things, whatever he has discussed earlier, also he has brought in here. You have to go through this 12th chapter thoroughly. The book itself is very elaborate. So even if you go through the book and take reference to earlier chapters, still you will have a complete understanding. So lot of things is brought. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So at the end of it, anyway, I have already. Did I share the 12th chapter one? I said I will share one PDF with you. I said, did I send it people? No.
No. This
No,
no.
I will send it. I will send it to group. But it is only a very small, summary. But this book itself is very elaborate. You must go through this and try to understand.
You sent it that time, my Arpita. That is that you sent, Swamiji.
12.12 summary.
That you sent.
That much I have. Other than that, you have to go by this book only.
The crux of the argument in this chapter is even if we are able to follow karma pala tyaga, which is the least respected of achieving a mind or buddhi complex, where in pursuit of Atmanyanam is possible, is talked about home.
That's what he.
That one you go through anyway, but this book is quite elaborate. You have to go through this also with reference to earlier sections, and then we will be able to understand the whole thing. Yeah, we'll do that. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaaya Purnamevavasishyate Om